The Court of Appeal has struck out an application by Reverend Kusi Boateng praying the court to overturn a High Court decision that dismissed his application to restrain Northong MP Samuel Ablakwa from discussing him in relation to the National Cathedral project. This is the third attempt by Secretary to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral to get a favorable outcome from the court. Delivering the ruling Wednesday morning, the panel of 3 judges contended that the application by Reverend Kusi Boateng did not comply with the rules of the law. Listen to Ablakwa after the ruling.
We are glad that the appeal on the contempt case has been dismissed by the appeals court. It appears that this is the only country where somebody who has engaged in a double identity scam will be wasting the time of members of parliament who are carrying out their constitutional mandate of oversight. That's all we are doing. That's all we are doing. And is this a fair price to pay for carrying out your constitutional mandate? And have you noticed that he never comes to court? He never comes to court. We have work to do. We have parliament to go to. We have parliamentary committees. We have our constituents to take care of. We have other constitutional obligations as members of parliament, and he keeps filing appeals upon appeals upon appeals when the matters are very clear. You have lost in the lower courts. Judges have been very, very decisive in their decisions. We were only carrying out our mandate to scrutinize expenditures of the National Cathedral project, and we discovered payments made in another name, only to find out that it is the same person, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng, Kwabna Edu Jemfi. And we have adduced evidence to that effect. We have not been mischievous, we have not been malicious, we are only carrying out our constitutional mandate. Unless people think that we are elected to go to parliament and be a rubber stamp, whatever state institutions bring to us, we don't scrutinize, we don't do due diligence, and we allow payments to go through. So that is what we are elected to do. That is what the Constitution says we should do. We do our job, and we are subjected to all of this harassment. We are being impeded from carrying out our work as members of parliament. It is clearly an unfair price to pay. And even though you may think that we should be happy today because this first appeal has been dismissed, remember that he has another appeal on the human rights case where the Human Rights Court held that he cannot claim that I have violated his right to privacy. We will have to come back here for that matter. I mean, this is somebody who clearly is out to just frustrate us and to put impediments in our way to prevent us from continuously carrying out our constitutional mandate of oversight. It is not a fair price to pay. We should be allowed to do our job, especially when it has been proven by the courts of our country that we were not malicious, we didn't fabricate, we didn't concoct, we only did a diligent, fair, thorough job.
My colleague Latif Idris was in the court this morning. He joins me in the studio with more. Latif, prior to this ruling on the substantive matter, the court had to make a determination on some objections by Okujetu's lawyer. How did that play out?
Yeah, so yesterday at the Court of Appeal, when this panel that delivered this ruling this morning sat, Thaddeus Sori, who is lawyer for Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, raised an objection and says the panel has not been properly constituted and that it is in breach of the Constitution. So that ruling was waiting, plus 2 other rulings that the court had to make today. So when the court came back today, that was the first thing they had to clear, and the determination of the court is that that application, objection by Thaddeus Sori, was dismissed. Okay, was dismissed.
But let's now get into the reasoning for throwing out that Reverend Kusi Boateng's contempt application.
So per the court's own estimation and conclusion, Reverend Kusi Boateng's application is incompetent and does not meet the rules of the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
Because in his application, he stated that the High Court judge who dismissed that application of contempt against Okudzeto Ablakwa erred. Now, by the rules of the Court of Appeal, if you say the judge has erred, you have to point out what exactly you mean by the judge going contrary. According to the court or the panel today, lawyer for Kusi Boateng failed to point out what exactly they are claiming that the judge erred on when he made that ruling dismissing the application he filed at the High Court. Reason why they decided to strike out this particular application.
What was Reverend Kusi Boateng himself in court today?
No, he wasn't in court.
Right, and does this end the matter brought to court by Kusi Boateng?
No. So this is something that is missing on a lot of people. When Reverend Kusi Boateng went to court, the Court of Appeal, Okudzeto Ablakwa quickly followed him there and asked the court to strike out the application he had presented to the Court of Appeal. Then his lawyers, Kusi Boateng's lawyers, went back to the Court of Appeal and said that we have additional grounds that we want to add to what we had filed earlier. The court had already made the determination that they were going to pass their ruling on the first application that was filed. That was done today. So today, the court strikes out the first application. But the court has given them a 7-day ultimatum to refile.
Okay.
Because they've gone to the court and say, we want to add additional grounds. Okay. So the court has said, okay, we are giving you 7 days within which you have to file the additional grounds, and then the case, exactly, and the case will be heard again. We do not know if it will come out with a different determination or the result will be the same.
So is there a date that the court is looking forward to sitting, or they're waiting for this application before they can give a date?
Exactly. So they wait for them to file, to refile, and then they will set a date for ruling.
Right. Latif Idris with that update from the Court of Appeal. Definitely there is more. We'll bring you on this case as it unfolds in court. But this afternoon, let's take you to Kumasi, where there's a crunch meeting to get medical doctors at the oncology department of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital to get back to the consulting rooms after a 2-day walkout. It follows an impasse in the acquisition of a crucial piece of multifunctional equipment, the water phantom used to calibrate linear accelerators responsible for administering targeted radiation therapy. Management at the striking oncology doctors have returned to the negotiation table today to find a solution to the impasse. First, here's a report filed by Nana Boakye during his visit to the hospital.
Linear accelerators are used to treat cancer and most commonly used for external beam radiation treatments. The machine works by speeding up electrons to deliver therapeutic X-rays or electrons to a patient's tumor. However, the machine has been malfunctioning since October 2023, adversely impeding the diagnosis and treatment of cancer cases. According to management of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, the machine has been repaired but remains non-operational due to delayed access to a water phantom needed to calibrate the system. Dr. Yaolabi is the Deputy Medical Director at CATH.
This machine was down for some time, for some months. It needed a part. The part was procured and installed. Now, for some machines, you need to do what we call calibration. Because when you are going to give radiation to people, you need to know how much you are giving. So there's something we call a phantom, water phantom. And this phantom is not manufactured in Ghana or anywhere in Africa. It's something that you place an order for. So, and because it costs so much money, you need banks to communicate with each other. So the product we know is coming from the US. However, the company who we are dealing with is in Bulgaria. So our banks here have to talk to the banks in Bulgaria. So you know these issues of letters of credit. Okay, so in effect, it's about the banks agreeing that when the thing is delivered, we will also pay you the money. This has taken some time because some of the bank in Bulgaria has to work through what we call intermediary banks. So all these things take time to process.
Dr. Labi says the strike is unfortunate, considering efforts to secure a new machine.
Before the product is put on an airplane and flown to Ghana, all that contributes to make it difficult for you to say that on this specific date the product will arrive. And that has been difficult for us. Though we know that we've processed everything and it's going to come, and we know that on the day that they load it on the airplane, we will be informed, and then definitely we'll be given some information to tell us that it's been loaded, it will arrive in Accra on this date, and then we also have to arrange how it will move from Accra to Kumasi, and it's a very delicate piece of equipment. The company has to know that it has gotten to Konfanochi, and it has to reach Konfanochi intact before we can instruct our bankers to pay. That shows you how delicate it is. So it is unfortunate that our colleagues, a section of our colleagues in oncology, have taken this action because we have shown them a lot of good faith. We have communicated with them. We've gone to them several times. We've had interactions at several levels.
Some relatives of cancer patients express their frustration and concerns.
It is affecting us. We are being affected because my wife is seriously sick and there's no doctor taking care of him. There's no doctor. So we are being affected. Yes, we are being affected. You see some patients over here, and even most of them they have gone, and most of them are not coming because of the strike. So we are being affected.
It's not helping them because they are saying their machine is not working. And looking at my mom's condition, we can't go home. Like we are staying at Obuasi, we can't go home and come back again. Like it's a whole lot. So they should do something about it for us.
I mean, looking at the condition of your mom, she's even struggling to get inside the car.
Yeah, it's not helping. We came last week and they said she should go and do something. So let me say for the past 3 weeks, she has not been here. So she's suffering. I'm even in school and I came back home. So that's not helping us.
It remains unclear when the doctors will return to work. For JoyNews, Nana Boache Dankwa-Yadom, Kumasi.
We'll get Nana Boache Dankwa-Yadom to tell us more about the situation in the hospital and what the outcome of this meeting has been. But right now, people living with HIV, tuberculosis and other health conditions who depend on Global Fund donated medications are to wait for an additional 2 weeks for the cleared health communities to reach them. The spokesperson for the coalition of CSOs in health, N.S. Otin, says despite completing all customs documentation, logistical challenges are slowing the process as only 16 containers can be cleared per day. He estimates it will take an additional 2 weeks to cut all containers to their destinations across the country. According to him, although some medications have been shipped to regional centers, the Food and Drugs Authority is yet to certify 2 containers containing injectables. Listen.
Though the clearance has been given for all the containers to be removed, there was the challenge of how many trucks can be offloaded in a day. Under normal circumstances, the Central Medical Stores offloads 8 trucks a day. That is their routine. But under the current circumstances, they are now forced to do a maximum of 16 a day. So that means that it's going to take some time for them to be able to cut all the containers from the ports to the warehouse. So technically speaking, the GRA and all the other port authorities have given a go-ahead for the commodities to be cleared, except that for logistical reasons, it's taking some time for them to be carted to the warehouse. This week, they explained that they are receiving 70 containers. So they have made provisions for those 70 containers. Earlier, they had received 64 containers. That was a week before. They had received 64 containers. And in the coming week, they will also be expecting to receive another 64 containers. So by their projection, within a maximum of 2 weeks from now, they should be able to get all the containers from the port to their warehouses.
Been joined by the spokesperson for the Coalition of CSOs in Health, Enesa Moapeng, for more. So what exactly is the situation as we speak? Has there been any improvement on what you've been talking about?
Okay, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon. So as of this morning, the updates we have received is that the clearing is still ongoing. The central medical stores is still receiving the containers. There was some 9 containers that we were expecting yesterday, and they were delivered as of yesterday. So starting from today, they are expecting another set of 70 containers to come in. This will take them up to next week. And then the week after, they are expecting a last batch of 64 containers. And then they'll be done with the exercise.
You said that there are 2 containers that the FDA is yet to certify for use. How long is this going to take? Has the FDA told you when it will do that to allow the drugs to be used?
So this was information we picked out from the warehouse, that all the medicines that came in, they were certified by the FDA, and then they were released to go to the various regional medical stores, with the exception of some 2 which they are still looking at. And once they give the go-ahead, they will be also dispatched to the regions. But we don't have information on that as we speak.
Ernest Wilson, I'm grateful for your time. He's the spokesperson for the Coalition of CSOs in Health. There's more. We'll be following up on the story and we'll bring you more on that. The latest Ghana Human Development Report is warning that the country's health system could worsen if immediate steps are not taken to check the mass exodus of doctors and nurses trained in Ghana. The report says that so far 24% of nurses trained in Ghana are currently working abroad owing to poor working conditions. The case is even worse for doctors who were trained in Ghana, as 50% of them have also left. The document, authored by the UN Development Program in partnership with the Statistical Service and the National Development Planning Commission, says the health sector is in a precarious state due to this development and will require policy and pragmatic measures to avert a total shutdown of the sector. Head of the Diplomatic and Foreign Affairs Desk, Blessed Sogan, joins us with more on this. Blessed, right before we speak with you, Blessed, let's listen to the warning.
Our current HDI is 0.668, which is indicating about a 0.015 difference between the indices that we recorded for 2020 and 2021. So one could look at this from the perspective of the fact that we are seeing an increase in our Human Development Index based on the indicators for its computation.
There's a portion that I read which is very striking about the health sector and what's happening to our health professionals. 50% of doctors, as we understand, who have been trained in the country have left the country. Nurses, 24%. How troubling is this, continuous exodus of health workers, and how can we address this?
I mean, definitely once you have your professionals moving out of the country, it's an issue of concern. But we always have to look at these numbers in the context of the targets that we have. For every country, you expect a natural out-migration, but the question is it consistent with the target relative to the numbers that you are training and the numbers that you expect to be retained in this country? So this is where we refer our discussions to what's the policy document movement when it comes to the numbers that we are training, the numbers that we expect to be retained, and obviously the numbers that we don't have control over that would exit. I don't have on top of my head what the statistical targets are on these species, but definitely going forward, these are some of the contextual discussions that we're going to have, especially in this.
Is it about the need to train more or to retain more?
The starting question will be, what is the stock of medical professionals that we have? That should be the first question. Then the next question is, what is the number that we require as a country? That is what is going to inform the number that we are training vis-a-vis those that, as I indicated, will naturally move out of the country. So until we do these analysis sequentially, one would be jumping the gun saying that go and train more when we've not had a conversation on the stock that we need and what is required for us as a country.
But is this something you'd be looking at in the coming days?
Absolutely, this is what we are doing at Ghana Statistical Service. We're trying to engage more with the government ministries, department, and agencies to get a good sense of what their expectations are. That is why our mantra lately has to do with profiling of policy documents from the perspective of statistical target. And in the case of the Ministry of Health, we have looked at the health sector medium-term plan from the perspective of the demographic and health survey that we did. With the onboarding of the National Human Development Report, we're also going to do same and try to see how what we have in terms of reality aligns with what the statistical targets are.
And on your election headquarters, JoyNews can exclusively report that the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has consulted President Akufo-Addo on his choice of a running mate for the December 7 presidential elections. Who is this person and what is next? My colleague on the political desk and presidential correspondent, Elton Brobe, joins me via Zoom with more. Elton, what do we know?
Well, what we do know is that last night there was a meeting. The flag bearer of the NPP, was also the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, met with President Akufo-Addo to. The meeting was essentially for Dr. Bawumia to tell the President his choice of a running mate and to seek his blessing. We understand that President Akufo-Addo has some advice, has some concerns. By the end of the meeting, the President accepted the choice of Dr. Bawumia's running mate for election 2024. And this meeting took place last night at the Jubilee House.
Also, who is this person we're talking about?
From our checks, I mean, the running mates, from our checks from the meeting, from the name that we understand, he disclosed at this meeting with the President. He mentioned the name of the Member of Parliament for Menchia South, Dr. Kusi Boateng, who is currently the Energy Minister. That is the name we are told Dr. Bawumia disclosed at this meeting with President Akufo-Addo.
Is this choice flowing from the recent National Intelligence Bureau survey?
Aisha is unclear, but we do understand that they also looked at who is more popular in the party, who has the support of the grassroots, and who will help complement this ticket. What we also do understand is that even before Dr. Bawumia won the flag bearership race of the NPP in November, he was clear in his mind who was going to work with in terms of his running mate. So this name, even though may have been influenced by the survey conducted by the National Intelligence Bureau, we also do understand that it's always been under the consideration, and for that reason, it didn't come up as a surprise.
What's next, Elton?
Again, we are also picking information that there's likely to be a council meeting of the NPP where Dr. Bawumia is expected to also formally announce his name to the council of the party. The council of the party is made up of very influential organs of the party, the elders, the NEC, and the steering committee. So everybody who matters in the NPP is a member of the council of the party. So at this meeting, the choice will be disclosed before the council of the party, and then if the council accepts, then a formal announcement to that effect will be made.
Right, Elton Brobe is on our political desk. He's also the presidential affairs correspondent. Let's also bring in the deputy head of our political desk here at JoyNews, Winston Amwa. Winston, will this be a good choice for Dr. Bawumia going into the December 7 election?
Well, actually, we have to look at it from this perspective. And we've always indicated that for the NPP to win any election, it must get between 75, 76, and more votes in the Ashanti region. Now, in Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, the NPP has one of the most formidable politicians in the Ashanti region. And so his choice will impact the party positively in the Ashanti region. But then, as to whether or not it will be enough for the party to win election 2024 would be for all of us to see by end of December 2024.
This is something that we'll be breaking down bit by bit as it begins to unfold. Definitely that name will come out. And so stay on your election headquarters on JoyNews for all that you need to know. Let's get on to other stories. For the fourth consecutive week, the Investment Holders Forum is picketing the Finance Ministry in demand for their locked-up funds at NDK Finance and 3 other deposit-taking institutions. The group's persistent request to meet either the Finance Minister or his deputy to table their demands before them is yet to happen. The group wants the Bank of Ghana and Finance Ministry to declare as insolvent and revoke the licenses of NDK Financial Services, Bond Savings and Loans, SIC Life Savings and Loans, and SCC Financial Services. The 4 deposit-taking institutions that have failed to release their locked-up funds to them. Dr. Edwana Nenji is lead convener of the group.
The battle continues, Aluta continues. We haven't received any indication from the Ministry of Finance that they have made the necessary financial provisions. As soon as the ministry comes up to tell us that they have made the appropriate financial provisions that will enable the Bank of Ghana to revoke the license of NDK Financial Services, SIC Life Savings and Loans, and SGC Financial Service, and Bond Savings and Loans, we will stop the picketing. But not until that is done, we will be picketing every Wednesday.
What's the expectation as you head towards the Finance Ministry?
Well, we think that this time, government should be able to make this provision without any problems. Given the fact that the minister has said that Ghana has saved about over $8 billion from the external debt restructuring. So at least money is coming. Government must use part of these savings to pay every locked-up fund in this market. The financial market must be stabilized. This money has come, and government must utilize it. The first thing that it must do is to use part of it, just a little, to pay all the locked-up funds.
Have there?
I have 200 million.
200 million, that is
20,000.
Okay. And how long has it taken for you not to get it?
That's from 2018 up to date. That's what I've been given to me.
You are marching to the Finance Ministry as you always do every Wednesday. But today, what are you expecting? Are you expecting anything new today?
We are expecting something positive.
Things we invested in are still alive, and they've not been liquidated by government. And what money has been made available, which by the way is not enough, is going to companies that have already been liquidated. But the government is very much aware that these companies are not in a position to pay us our investments.
The minority in Parliament have issued a stern warning to the majority leader, Alexander Fenyomaking, to desist from making false comments that is aimed at inciting the public against the proposed free SHS bill. It will be recalled that yesterday, Alexander Fenyomaking claimed that the minority seemed to be against the free SHS bill, even though it is yet to be introduced in the House. But on the floor this morning, minority leader Kesiela Tofolson insists there's no bill before the House for their side to be opposed to it in the first place.
On record that we have not said anywhere that NDC is opposed to a free SHS bill. That we have not seen. Rather, Mr. Speaker, it is the government of the day and the majority side that have not presented the bill before us. We now challenge you. We now challenge you. We give you 1 week. Bring the bill before us. We give you, in fact, tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, let them present the bill to us tomorrow. Let let them present the bill before us tomorrow, so that we can all peruse the bill, so that we can see the content of the bill. Mr. Speaker, clearly, they are desperate. Mr. Speaker, as I said, I see desperation on the part of them. Rather, they should bring the bill and let the people of Ghana see what is in the bill for all of us to debate the details of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's take you live to Parliament for more. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with details. Kweku, how has the majority been responding to this?
Well, the majority have been doubling down on their demand, and it appears the minority may be opposed to the free SHS bill, although they have not put that bill to the floor. The majority that who has been making this claim, Alexander Penomakin himself, was not on the floor at the time these allegations or this response came from the minority front bench. But the active whip in the person of Frank Anodombre has been doubling down and defending it, saying that the minority should rather be conferring and making clear what it is that their position is on the yet to be laid free SHS bill, because he believes that the free SHS bill is quite an important bill that will ensure that this country will be able to safeguard the very transformational program that the President Akufo-Addo did implement since he came into office in 2017. That is the hope of the majority, that despite the minority making all these claims, whenever this bill is laid on the floor, they will actually back it and get it to passage.
So as we speak, the bill has not been laid, Kweku?
The bill has not yet been laid in the House. In fact, last week, Friday, when the business statement for this week was presented, the majority leader, Alexander Penomakin, did indicate that this week the bill will be laid in Parliament because the President has given executive approval for the bill to be laid. But the Education Minister himself, who is expected to get this bill laid, has not come to Parliament since the beginning of this week, both yesterday and today. He has not been around. But we understand that they are just finalizing a few processes, and by the end of this week, it will be laid. The minority have thrown a challenge to the majority that if they are so intent on putting this bill before the House, they must lay it either today or tomorrow or by the end of this week, or stop saying that they in the minority are opposed to the bill.
Kweku Asante is our man in Parliament. We'll bring you more from Parliament as the day as sitting goes on today. Let's take a break on JoyNews today. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest coming from the world of business.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the business segment on JoyNews today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. The UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce is asking government to do more in addressing the challenges affecting Ghana's exchange rate regime. Executive Director of the Chamber, Ajoba Chema, says she is hopeful of boost in trading activities of members if there is some stability of the currency. She spoke to Joy Business at the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce Hat and Flash Show.
The UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce Hat and Flower charity event was aimed at raising funds to support the Otumfuo Osei II Foundation, which seeks to improve the lives of Ghanaians by implementing the ideals, values, and visions of its patron, the Asante Hene. Executive Director of the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Ajoba Chiama, explained that our organization put the event together to encourage networking while promoting trade among UK and Ghanaian businesses.
As you're aware, at the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, one of the key planks of our work is to encourage networking amongst our member companies and our key stakeholders. And because we are focused on promoting trade between the UK and Ghana, we thought that, you know what, why don't we organize a networking event and theme it around hats and flowers, because it's very, very British. So, you know, just like any other business in Ghana, it's a tough economic environment for us, you know, but we are hopeful. We are hopeful. I mean, without going into details, the business sentiments are that, you know what, we've seen the cedi depreciates, there's exchange rate challenges for people that import equipment and things, other things from abroad, you know, but we're very, very positive about things turning around. We are confident that things will turn around, and so we are looking forward to a better second half of the year.
The event was aimed at raising a total of 100,000 Ghana cedis towards the realization of some of the objectives of the Otumfuo Osei II Foundation.
The Ghana Statistical Service is making a strong case for policymakers and implementers to be heavy on addressing outcomes from some surveys they churn out. According to the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobnenim, this is key to supporting economic growth of the economy. Now, he's been speaking at the 8th Ghana Living Standard Survey.
The Ghana Living Standard Survey is a nationally representative household survey that provides reliable, disaggregated, and internationally comparable statistics on welfare and living conditions of Ghanaians, of individuals, and households in Ghana. According to government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim, the objective of the survey is to estimate monetary and non-monetary poverty, identify new weight of consumer items to rebase consumer price index.
We finalize our instrument, all our documentations, the computer-assisted personal interviewing tool is ready. So we have formally launched the 8th round of the Ghana Living Standard Survey, which pre-testing of it is going to commence in the next couple of weeks. GLSS 8 generally has a very broad focus because it's the data set that we use for rebasing our consumer price index, rebasing our gross domestic product, and trying to get an understanding of the various dimensions of living conditions, i.e. employment, health-related issues, migration-related issues. But for the 8th round of the GLSS 8, we're especially focusing on learning poverty on the back that from the 2021 population housing census, we identified 7.9 million people who could not read or write in any language with understanding.
Deputy Education Minister John Intim-Forjo said the survey is key to shaping government's approach in addressing some challenges within the Ghanaian economy.
We are very honored that this year's Ghana Living Standard Survey is focusing on education, it's focusing on functional literacy and numeracy, it's focusing on a key aspect that is a driver to socio-economic development of any country. And therefore, we want to indicate our strong support to the team that are going to be at the forefront of this survey. From the Ministry of Education, we are going to partner strongly with Ghana Statistical Services and the project team to ensure that credible and relevant data is obtained, because as the outcome of this survey is going to be a major indicator, it's going to be a major data that's going to inform policy that is going to benefit the whole nation.
The data collection for the 8th round will be carried out in 1,710 clusters across the country and will involve 25,650 households.
We have more business stories for you at 1 p.m. on the Marketplace. Sports is next.